Good morning, everybody. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Dave TV. How you doing, everybody? How you doing? As if I care. Where's my drink? Oh, I had my. Oh, look at this. Oh, look at this. This is cool. Friend of mine just lent me this of dolls and murder. This is an interesting story. Baltimore. Hey, Baltimore. John Waters narrates this tiny world of big-time murder. Apparently, some Baltimore crime lab back in the 30s and 40s actually used like a little dollhouse thing to try to show how murders took place. Put the body was over here by the bed and the whatever, and this woman set these things up. And they did a documentary on it. And, of course, John Waters, the noted Baltimore filmmaker, narrates it. So this is what I'm going to watch one of these nights. Of dolls and murder. Now you know what I like to watch on television. So, anyhow, I was reading my Wall Street Journal today. This day, this is just a better paper than the Washington Post. It's written better. It's laid out better. It's just, I don't know. Everything about this paper is better. When it obviously doesn't have all the local news in it, but, when it comes to anything else other than what happened in Wheaton today, a car ran off the road and ran through a Dunkin' Donuts, something like that. This is just a far better paper. It gets better and better. It's better laid out. It's better written. Everything's better about it. I mean, what's the downfall of the Washington Post? It's simple. It's just not a very good paper anymore. Duh. I mean, it's, Catherine Weymouth and company ran it into the ditch. So anyhow, you got Jeff Bezos. And he gets on there, he look a lot like, I think he looks a lot like Patrick Stewart, Captain Picard there of Star Trek. Put the little red, jumpsuit on him. And, I was joking around on Twitter today. I said, what he ought to do is get a mock-up of the Enterprise there on the, Next Generation Enterprise there on, the Washington Post main newsroom there. And, put all the view screens. And then he could have, put his little chair there. And he could have, Weymouth, if she's still around, have her sitting next to him, and they could all wear the Star Trek uniforms, and he could have his reporters all out there. There's Paul Farry, and there's Eric Wemple, and and they would all be wearing their Star Trek uniforms, and and he would just okay, Paul, do an article on evils of Sinclair. Make it so, Paul. And what's that other ship over? Oh, it's the USS New York Times. Phasers on kill! Fire the photon torpedoes! Yeah. Anyhow, I don't know. What are you going to do? Here's the thing. You read all this stuff up about it. Bezos gets into the deal and he goes, here's the Washington Post. We have these reporters. They're highly paid. They go out and write stories. And then it goes on the Washington Post website. And then you have an aggregation site like Huffington Post that comes along and basically just highlights the story on their website, and then maybe puts a little text link to the Washington Post article, which nobody's going to click on anyhow, and basically just steals your story. And that happens all the time. Drudge isn't so bad because Drudge just literally is all links, nothing else. He doesn't aggregate the actual content like Huffington Post and a lot of these other sites do. Huffington Post will actually take the story, write a synopsis, and then put in some little link in there. I mean, they're not technically plagiarizing or stealing because they technically are, they're just synopsizing. So it goes kind of right up to that, acceptable line. They don't quite cross it. So they're not really stealing it. But you can understand what Bezos is concerned about. Here's the newspaper that's spent all their time and effort to do something, and then it just gets taken by somebody else and reappropriated, okay? And yeah, it is credited, but you know what? What goes around comes around, because the big newspapers do the same thing to us bloggers. We're out there finding out stories. We go out there sometimes and stuff. DCR TV will find something and I'll report the rumor, and then somebody like Farry or David Zurwick over there at the Sun or somebody will come along and they'll see my little rumbling, and then they'll take that, make a few phone calls, and then do their own story. And so it all comes around and goes around. Everybody's doing that. The Washington Post, Bezos complains about how Huffington Post does that to him, but the Washington Post does that to lots of other internet sources and blogs and stuff. So they do it and they get it done to them. They F other people, but they get F'd themselves. So I don't know. It all kind of comes around and goes around. The problem is when you're an established newspaper, how do you make money? How do you continue making money when your print is dwindling, when your news exclusives can get appropriated by anybody else? I don't know. I don't even know if Jeff Bezos has an idea to do that. What you got to do, I guess, and you got to produce a product that's people want to pay for. That's a total package. And I think that's where Bezos gets it right. It's not just an article. It's you have a whole news organization that just churns it out every day. Really top quality stuff, like the New York Times, like the New York Times, like the Wall Street Journal. The question is the Washington Post in the same league as the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal? I don't know if it is anymore. I think they still have the remnants of their greatness in terms of some of their foreign policy coverage and some of their Washington coverage, which has gotten really, their head handed to them by Politico over the last couple of years. But that's the question that's going to, are they, the Washington Post can always succeed on a smaller scale as a local Washington paper. There's always going to be some market for that, but it's going to be a much smaller paper than it is. I don't know. What are they? They have to figure that one out first. What are we? I think that's what Bezos has to figure out. What is the Washington Post? Is it a national newspaper that's going to compete with the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times? Is it a local newspaper that's going to just focus on local news? Is it both? Is it neither? What is that? And until they answer that question, we'll never know. So anyhow, some interesting stuff going on there. And it's just, to see these write-ups, I don't know, the Post covering the Post. I realize that when a major newspaper gets sold or when something happens like that, the Post has to cover the Post, I guess, but they just do it every day there's another Bezos story and another couple Bezos stories, and it's getting to the point now where they're getting too much of that. Back away. Back away from yourself. Stop looking at the mirror and focus your sights somewhere else. Where you're looking around at other things, because too much introspection like that is just making the Post a creepier and creepier place by the second. Tom Lovarro, really guy. You meet a lot of people when you do this local media news stuff. Some people are nice, some people aren't. Nice people. People like Johnny Holiday. Nicest man in the world. And another one, Tom Lovarro. A really nice man. You call him up, he'll talk to you. He's not pompous or pretentious. He's just a nice guy. He's a big guy. He is a big guy, and he should lose some weight. Tom, lose some weight. Health is important. Drop some pounds. But other than that, Tom's a nice guy. And it's good to hear that he's at least getting back into the print side of things, at least on an appearance side. So, Tom wrote for the Washington Times for many years, from like 1992 until a couple years ago when they basically got rid of their sports department, and then they added it back and all their crazy lunatic stuff over there at the Times. But anyhow, we hear today that Tom is rejoining the Washington Times. At least he'll do 2 columns. So that's good. 2 columns a week. Still be doing his Sports Fix midday show on ESPN 980 WTEM. But good news there for Tom. I had a nice conversation with him. I was doing an article for Pressbox over the summer, and we had a nice chat. He's a really nice guy, and what I'd like to do? Here's what I would really like to do is set this thing up as maybe get a set up here and just have people come by and chat. There are some people I think who would really be great. Davy Jones, Paul McNell would be great. Johnny Holiday would be great. Tom Lovarro would be great. I was talking to Smokin' Al Koken yesterday. He would be great. Who's calling me? I'll have to answer that one later. Hold on a sec. Hello? Oh, I don't know. sorry, Betsy. It was from Betsy Rothstein. I don't. She calls me every day and says, Dave, what do I do? What should I cover? I said, just go rewrite another press release. Everything will be fine. So anyhow, Tom LaVar will be joining the Washington Times. That's good news. Kevin Close there, leaving his journalism professor tutorial thing over there at the University of Maryland, going back to Radio Free Europe, Radio Liberty. So that'll be interesting. Interesting stuff. Leon Harris felled by a mysterious illness there. He was out for most of the month of August in the hospital ICU up at Johns Hopkins. It appears he has severe pancreatitis. Nasty stuff there. Interesting. I like Leon. I don't watch Channel 7 much because, the joke was, one person joked around on our mailbag today that maybe he suffered from Sinclairitis. I don't know. Betsy just keeps calling me. I hang up on her and she just keeps calling me. Stop calling me, Betsy. All right, folks, I better go answer the phone. Thanks for watching Dave TV for the 5th of September, 2013. Book 'em, Dano.